all out doctors.
Excuse me. Some of us are going to say the Pledge of Allegiance before the meeting, if anybody would care to join us.
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thanks, Ben.
I'd entertain a motion to accept the printed minutes of the December 6th meeting.
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment.
On our agenda, I'd like to add Bridgewater Drive back to the old business. Under old business use.
Anything else? Anything from the audience? We'll move on. January bills.
January bills are as follows. We had a DDA payment for the tax increment financing authority. That's what we pay back to the village, $2,596.65. That was actually for 2020, and we're soon gonna have one for 2021. I'm not sure that they billed us last year. I haven't paid one for over a year. Honeymoon Heights Lights, have that ready to go out. It's $5,937. That's for an annual payment. Verizon phones is $154.95. State of Michigan quarterly tax is $685.73. FICA payment for withholding is $1297.30. We had the carpet cleaned in here for $513 West Michigan carpet. Our insurance package for the buildings and liability is renewing this month at $5,881 with Barron's Henry Estates. Planning board was paid $190 for all members present. There is an assessor training meeting that's coming up, February, I think.
January 29th.
All right. And we have to pay $50 as a township for the members to be able to attend. December border review, all members were present, $300. KCI for assessor postage, I think that's the final payment for the year, was $495.69. Out to the cemetery, we had 2 trees blow down in that windstorm. Oh gosh, has it been 3 weeks ago? I had Bunker Tree Service go out and clean them up. They did it for $500. They're pretty large trees that blocking the road and landing on tombstones. We have a Cato special assessment tax bill of $87.10 paid to the Treasury. There's 3 consumers bills for lights, $126.07 for the community center, $29.75 at the cemetery, and $116.74 for street lights. DTE for gas for this building is $133. Cantwell's for hardware supplies is $20.99. Foster Swift is the attorney firm. First payment for them was $350. Our cleaning lady Alex was $80, and Brian for the cemetery was $560. The board per diem for January is $31.76.11. I have one order at Staples for envelopes and supplies of toner and ink for $280.36. Kelsey is on here for zoning at $478.84. Both assessors at $1203.51. We had a water bill for $43.68. The clerk and treasurer's rental fee at $150. Cass air for internet is $75.24. I did pay the deputy treasurer, the 6-month stipend of $1409.60, and the deputy clerk $1316.61. The total should be $29,653.43.
How does that insurance package, is that once a year, or is that
Once a year, yeah. Then we have a workers' comp on top of that, and that's for the buildings and general liability here at the cemetery.
Is there support to the motion to pay the bills and accept the bills?
I'll support it.
Been moved, supported,
Who made the motion?
discussion,
Who made the motion?
I thought you did.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
Jordan can, I can support it.
okay.
So moved. Okay.
That 5,000 on, insurance, you say there's also the liability?
No, that is a liability, that's insurance on this building, all the cemetery buildings, and liability out there. That's about what it was last year.
This seems quite high for
More
this
than we
one
have.
building. The liability. That isn't the bonds for the clerk and treasurer?
Yeah, that's all in the package.
That's all in the
Yeah, that's
package?
all part of that package. I didn't print it off because it's about 74 pages long.
I understand.
They don't mail it to you anymore.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. I think we need the income.
Treasurer's report.
Cato Township checking, our beginning balance was $328,693. Our income was $20,960.76. Our ending balance is $325,930.93. The fire district, the beginning balance was $993.10. We have an income of 4 cents. We had a bill of $1.39 for bill backs, and our ending balance is $991.75. Honeymoon Heights Lights, our beginning balance is $6,507.88. We have an income of 24 cents. Our light bill was $5,937. Our ending balance is $571.12. And our CDs are, beginning and ending balance the same of $107,125.80.
I make a motion that we accept the treasury report as presented.
Is there support? Discussion? Do you think we ought to take that, what do you call it,
ARPA money?
money and put it in a CD or
I don't think
something?
we can.
Well, we can't, we just have to keep it in a segregated account. It has its own account number assigned to it.
I understand that, but still don't seem like we ought to
You
have
can-
that
you can-
one.
Yeah, you can put that in an account where it draws interest. Yeah,
It just don't seem like we need $300,000 in the checking account when at least $100,000 of that is,
it's,
money that we basically can't spend until,
it's 80, I don't know, it's 91,000.
well, it's close to 100.
Yeah.
Just something to think about. I don't know what we can get, but.
About .02 on a CD right now.
I can check with Mercantile Bank and Community First and see what their interest rates are.
They pay you to take it.
Yeah.
They,
You pay them to take it.
any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Zoning, I don't know if you heard me or not, Dave is homesick. Dave Burnwell says he was in a car accident, so. You have anything, zoning?
Yes, I have. Well, there's 3 things that, one of them we'll cover here when we get down to it, but, document equality, police power is what we need to fill out, for that, moratorium. But I didn't get an update from her yet, and Todd didn't, and I don't think Phil has, so we're gonna have to wait till next meeting for that one, and then we have to let you know that our meetings are still same as before, every other month. On the second Wednesday, starting at 5, is what we're gonna keep it at for now. And then we needed the letter from the MTA for the conflict of interest, which I got that in my packet now. Next meeting is February 9th, and then we gotta talk about conflict of interest, so we can get to that when we get down to that.
Any questions of Dave? Thank you. New business, ARPA funding.
ARPA relief funding, the 91,000 that we have received half of is in our checking account, or our bank account, I should say. We are very restricted on what we can spend that money on, as you probably already know or remember from before. It's water, sewer, broadband, internet, some infrastructure, and like your community center. Some of the money, I think we're gonna need to, we've already started, we just had all these lights replaced, obviously one quit already through the whole building, and we're using some of that money for that. I believe that we're gonna need a new roof on the building soon. I was up there a couple weeks ago, it's still holding its own, but it's leaking here and there.
Is it a rubber roof?
Yeah, it's pretty much a one-piece solid rubber roof. We had an estimate maybe 3 years ago from Keefe's Roofing, and I wanna say it was 25,000.
Let's say that's accurate. So
I don't-
probably 30.
It's
today.
probably more today, but I think we're gonna need to use some of the money for that probably. But then thirdly, and this is all speculative at this point, I've had a couple meetings with Darren Doe, the village manager, a DDA member, one of the village council members, actually met with Jordan once, and we're looking into the possibility of expanding the walk trail that goes through town and partway around the lake. And we're looking to see if it's feasible or possible to make that go all the way around the lake. We don't have any projections of cost, we don't have any layout yet, a bunch of us took a walk, a week or so ago and just kind of scoped it out to see what might be possible. But we can use the ARPA funds on outdoor recreation. That qualifies under the COVID mitigation. Again, it's speculative. The village is right now in the process of putting a 13-acre bike trail behind their water wells out behind the mobile home park. It's possible, we think, to connect to that. Mountain bike trail, yeah, sorry. We think it's possible to connect to that. We think it's possible to utilize the railroad right away for some of it. But we know there's a couple of places where we're gonna need easements across some private property. So again, it's all speculative at this point, just investigating it. I think it's a worthwhile project, and I'm gonna make a motion that as the clerk, I'd be allowed to continue to pursue that idea with the village and the DDA. The DDA has also committed $7,500 towards this project. So DDA is a 10-block area of Main Street where they capture, or they recapture funds that can basically be spent in town. That's where we get our facade grants, like we replaced the front doors, and some of the other businesses in town have done that. So I'm making a motion that I be allowed to continue to pursue the idea with the village and the DDA.
Is there support?
Support.
Moved and supported, any other discussion? I think anything we can do with the village, will improve our relationships, and I think a project like this will be.
No, I think it's good for both the township and the village. Obviously, wanted to work together, but bring people to our area.
Well, that was one of the ideas we had, is there's other communities that have trails like that. There's obviously the Fred Meyer Trail, but people come from other communities to walk that trail. And what we've noticed lately, there's cars that pull into the Lakeside Park, lots of them, during the weekdays even, and there's nobody in those cars. Well, those people are out walking around, and quite often, I know this because they go past my house, there's a trail goes through the cemetery currently and out past the airport. So I tend to believe that a lot of those people have figured this out and they come here specifically to walk that. And I know there's other members of the community that also walk around the lake. So we just thought it was kind of a neat concept, and the village is gonna have some ARPA funds as well, or they have some, I don't know, they got a smaller amount than we did, but we're so restricted on what we can use it for. So that was one possibility.
Any other discussion? All we're voting on is to continue, talking with the village.
Correct. No financial commitment at all at this point.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The cemetery cleanup, I think you already explained that when you gave the bills.
Yep. They were extremely large trees, they were like huge trees snapped off.
Was he able to do it for the 500?
He did it for 500, he said it would be 600 to 800, and I told him we couldn't spend, before, the board was meeting, we couldn't spend more than 500, and as it's our policy, and, he did the cleanup of everything that was on the ground. The stumps, the tree trunks are still standing, and he'll come back for another fee to do that later if we want it done.
I would like the board review, training, we've done that with Acosta County for quite a few years. If we used MTA, it's about $100 a board member. So counting myself, it'd be like $400 that we're getting done for $50, so. But I'd also like to make a motion to thank Gordy Stevens for over 20 years of service on the border review, and appoint Darren Dowd, village manager, to replace Gordy.
I'll make a motion that we recognize Gordon Stevens for his 20+ years of service to the board review, and appoint Darren Doe as his successor for board review.
Is there support?
Support.
Been moved, supported, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion. Kim, I understand you wanted to address our meeting.
Yes, I do, please, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be on the agenda this evening. Over the last several months, my ability to effectively serve on the Cato Township Planning Commission has been called into question. I was sought out over a decade ago by the Cato Township Board to become a commission member. Therefore, I respectfully request that the board take official action by way of vote to determine retention with full participation or dismissal. It is not my intention to create further dissension, and I will accept being replaced by the board, but I will not continue to be scrutinized by planning commission membership or the attorney, particularly when the council acknowledges this is a gray area, quote unquote, and specifically, quote, their firm's position is conservative. You are fully aware of this fact by way of the MTA attorney and other counsel retained in surrounding areas. Furthermore, I think it would be helpful to the planning commission and attorney if the board provided specific direction on what kind of ordinance you would like developed. This direction would save the township time, animosity, and money. Thank you for hearing me this evening.
I sure don't think there's anybody up here, Kim, that wants to replace you. You've been, well, the longest member on that board. You've got more history of planning than anybody else. Also, I would like to bring up that the planning board members serve at this board's discretion. And I don't think your committee should even be a subject of think I hit on this once before, a couple months ago, that, we need both sides on your board, and we thought we did that when we appointed the last two members, but if it's gonna cause a conflict, maybe some of those new members are gonna have to be replaced. Now, this is my opinion, this isn't, board. But, I see you smiling, Bronny,
Her name's
My name
Brandy.
is Brandy.
Just to let you know, it's
Oh,
your
hey,
comment.
no, this is our board.
Yeah, so don't make it personal.
But the board, the planning board is to represent the township, not their own, their own endeavors.
Amen.
So are you guys. Anybody else got anything to say?
Yeah, I do. I mean, Kim's been on there for 12 years. We got her on when nobody wanted to be on there. She went through the existing wind ordinance that we have, went through that. And we're reviewing our existing wind ordinance at this moment. And we have an existing wind ordinance, it's on moratorium. She helped us. I don't think, I was at the last meeting, everybody said she hasn't done anything to be persuasive in any way. And it's an opinion, and those opinions go both ways. And I would like to, see maybe the planning commission get a couple of opinions on bylaws. It's my understanding that we've got one opinion on a bylaw. We didn't have option 2, we didn't have option 3, we didn't have option 4 or 5. It was just, this is what it is, we need to act on it. And I think there needs to be a little bit more review done. So I'd like to make a motion to recommend that the planning commission review more options to the bylaws so that they can retain Kim, because I think she's an asset for the planning commission. And I support it. And I support the planning commission.
Is there support to the motion?
I'll support that. The motion is to recommend the planning commission review bylaws regarding conflict, correct?
Review more than just one that our attorney handed to us, which she even said, she works for us, it's just her opinion. So let's get a couple more opinions. We've got it from the MTA that says it's not a conflict of interest.
The, motion been moved and supported. Is there any other discussion?
I would be happy to collect some of the conflict of interest bylaws from neighboring townships.
Okay. Any other discussion?
It was brought up at the meeting. Kim spoke exactly how they were saying she had a conflict of interest, but that was just, she did her duty on that, and I supported, what she said, and, that's why we couldn't go any farther on the meeting, because the attorney said we had to change our bylaws. But I haven't seen any more from that and what they're gonna say. And I agree with Jordan that we need more than one, just like we chose the attorney, to find out what's the best. Because my feeling is if Kim has a step down, we're down to 4, and that's the reason why you have an odd number.
Right. Well, that's why there's 5 on there.
Yes.
So, there's
If it's not a pass, it's a fail. It's a tie, it's a fail.
Are we ready to vote, or is there, any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Any other, new business? Old business, December, MTA meeting, the Montcalm County MTA. the road commission.
I'll take that unless you want to, David. David and I both attended our local chapter MTA, which was really well attended in Gowan in December, I forget the date.
Very good meal, too.
Yeah, we got Thanksgiving dinner. Anyway, it was a big turnout, it was sponsored by the road commission, and basically what they were telling us is, what potential projects they're looking at for this upcoming year, how they're handling they've got a new truck that they spray down liquid on the highways, on the primary roads. Something they've worked out with MDOT, it's a test project, anyway.
It's not all chloride, it's a corn
Yeah, it's a
syrup.
special, yeah, it's corn syrup, thank you. It was interesting, they're gonna continue
What do you think? No, just corn syrup.
it's cutting the cost down on salt and sand anyway. But they're gonna continue to offer discounts on any road projects that we might do going forward this coming year. I don't know about 23, but in 2022, they're still talking about 15 to 20% kickback or discount on road projects. They, I think, are talking with county commissioners maybe about the road commission being able to access some of the county's ARPA funds. And that's still all up in the air, but basically, that's what they covered at the meeting is, as townships in the outlying area on these county roads, we have to cost share with them in order to get the projects done. There doesn't seem to be a great formula how that's calculated, but, they can't do it all, nor can we, but they're gonna need us to continue to participate to maintain and do the projects. But it was a very good meeting, well attended.
Any, questions? Or David or Scott? Bert Shores.
Well, we've been going through Bird Short for a while, as you guys got a packet here. I've been talking with, Mr. LaFever on and off, a little bit more in depth lately as to how to get this done. One of their, I believe, Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, one of their biggest struggles is, you know, we give them a budget of $410,000, roughly $400,000. Looks like right here, they've got roughly 84 taxable parcels. So in that, you know, right now the county's got a 20% buyback pretty much, or 20% discount. So they're just trying to really get to the point of what is it really gonna cost them potentially, instead of the 400. Where can they go? And this is the first I've seen this number, but from what, I mean, they're pretty much looking for what our contribution would be from the township aspect. If there would be, if there is, how much is it? So that they can plan on how much it's really truly gonna cost them in the end.
History of the township has been 10%. What we've done on other Honeymoon Heights, out Collard Drive, Butcher Drive.
Well, I mean, I personally feel that we do need to do something.
Well, I think we should, but I see it, they've got down here 100,000.
No, that's a requested contribution.
Huh?
That's a requested contribution.
I know, and I just mentioned that, in the past, we have paid 10.
Right. And on the other note, they have contacted, a banking institute, you know, and there are institutes out there that'll go on a 10-year term for this project. So they can be financed at an interest rate, of roughly 4%.
How many years will they spread that?
10, well, it says up to 10 years. I mean, it's gonna depend on how long they wanna disperse that money.
I hadn't read the whole article.
Tony, help me out if I'm forgetting it.
Yeah, so we just, a couple years ago, we went down this path, and you guys' recommendation was we had to get over the vote number. So we had to get to over 50% of the people as the taxpayers on the road to wanna make it asphalt. So, but what we found, once we couldn't do that without knowing how much is everybody gonna pay. So we went to the county, met with him multiple times over the last year or so, kind of honed in on a rough number. Obviously, it's all fluctuates. And then, but what we found is without having some understanding what the township's willing to do and some sort of basis as to how you make decisions, we were never be able to decide how to move forward. So what we're asking is to try to get a better idea from you guys with some flexibility as to what we can do to move forward and try to get it done, but by also looking into it, because some of the feedback you guys gave us before is you don't have the money per se. And what we know is maybe at a snapshot in time, you might not, or at a year's budget or whatever it may be, it doesn't. And then what we know is there's some smaller parcels on that road too that we didn't wanna have, you know, because if we take the big chunk without any contribution from the township, we're looking at, you know, $3,000 to $4,000 per lot. And we didn't think that people were gonna sign off on that. So we didn't wanna move forward, try to get signatures, go see 80-some people, track down 80-some people, try to understand what it is, only to tell them we don't know how much it's gonna be. So what we're looking to do, so I went to Mercantile, talked to them specifically, talked to the credit union, they didn't wanna do anything with it. But I talked to Mercantile specifically, and they said they do up to 10 years. 4% at the moment is the highest number on 10 years, and like any typical amortization, if you do a lesser term, they're gonna give you better rates. And they seem to be totally on board with it. They're the ones that just financed the building for the city. So what we did is kind of looked over the last year or so of some of the stuff that's been done, and most recently, one of the things we were comparing it to is what you guys did on Lake Montcalm. There was a check cut of roughly $23,000. And my understanding is that was split with Pine. So we counted the houses on it, did some different due diligence. I mean, you could dream up a million ways to try to figure out what you should contribute, but you guys put in roughly $23,000 on a project like that literally has 7 houses on it in the township. And what I know of the tax base from driving down that road, that there's not much there. So to support ours, we came in under what you guys gave on a per house basis on something like that as an example. And at the same time, what I know is we have one of the higher tax bases, especially with 84 parcels in there, to make it justifiable for the township. I mean, Town and Lake